So, good day to everyone. I'm very pleased to be here today with Daniel and Davide Vanzo, our guest for today. We are going to have the chance to discuss a bit about ECoENet, how it developed throughout the years, and what role it plays in ecohydraulics in the ecohydraulics community, and what perspective we are going to have for ECoENet with Davide. So, Davide, I would ask you to start telling us something about yourself and maybe why you have pursuing a career in academia, especially in the eco-hydraulics field.
Hi, everyone. I'm Davide Vanzo. As Matteo was mentioning, I'm almost since the beginning in the board of in the main group of ECoENet. And my background is in environmental engineering. I was studying some years ago at the University of Trento. There I did my undergraduate student and studies, and then also my PhD studies. And actually, I was starting working on river morphodynamic problems, so not directly related to ecohydraulics issues. Then at the beginning of my PhD, it was posed to me these emerging issues called hydropeaking that at the time was a kind of a new topic, an emerging topic related to hydropower production and impacts of hydropower production on rivers. And I jumped in. Honestly, I was not aware at the beginning of my PhD exactly what it was. And then I started from there. So from river morphodynamic, I twisted a bit towards hydropeaking, and then from there it opens up a bit the world of ecohydraulics for myself, for my career. After my PhD, I had the chance to move to ETH Zurich because of a lucky opportunity. Sometimes it's just lucky events in life. So there was an opening, and I was able to join VAE, the Laboratory of Hydraulics, Hydrology, and Glaciology, shifting back more to river morphodynamic problems and modeling development, because this is also my other background and core business, let's say. But I kept working on hydropeaking and ecohydraulic problem at rich scale. Then I had an experience to EAVAG, at EAVAG, that is a Swiss Research Institute on Water, where I focus more on river temperature and in some way always linked to hydropower production, so studying thermopeaking, for example, problem. And then since some years, I'm back to ETH Zurich, where I do several things still in this big domain of river morphodynamic and ecohydraulics, and lately adding some further element of complexity like vegetation and seedling dispersal, for example, in rivers, and how all these processes are connected and interact together in the scope of river restoration, maintenance, and river adaptation to climate change, and so on and so forth. So this is why I'm here.
Yeah. Thanks. In all that time, basically, as you transitioned when in Italy and then to Switzerland and did different projects and different themes, what were the things that fascinated you most in your research so far?
Fascinated is and also challenge, I would say, is that doing interdisciplinary research, it's extremely challenging, rewarding when you manage to, but that you have to reconsider and reassess every time hypotheses, scales, and processes. And it's fascinating because you need to talk and interact with people with different vocabulary, skills, expectations, and also mindset. This is, for me, it's very fascinating, and I like, and I had to put a lot of effort also, communication, human effort to build up some good relation in job-wise relation. But I'm not tired of doing it, and I still like trying to work at the interface of different disciplines. Even though sometimes it's maybe less rewarding than being in a super specialized domain, but still I think there are many interesting challenges and potential good developments in terms of both career and also scientific development.
And I think basically if I kind of see your steps and see your research outputs, you're really in this interdisciplinary field. So you have this engineering background, you do a lot with flows, you're in ecology, but you're also involved in modeling things, like you created this basement software and stuff, and you're dealing with fish and vegetation. So it's like really very interdisciplinary, well connected. And in a sense, that's what ecohydraulics is, right? I mean, we're integrating these disciplines of, broadly speaking, ecology and hydraulics, but then there are, of course, so many other topics involved, like you were saying, geomorphology and all of these things. That
Yeah, I
makes it
mean,
quite fascinating. Yeah.
No, I was just agreeing on the fact that you just highlighted this peculiarity of the ecohydraulics being so interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary field of research. And I would ask Davide, in fact, how this transition, maybe within a sort of more fixed way of looking at science, developed since from your PhD to your current position. I mean, how this increasing multidisciplinarity you had to deal with has improved or construct throughout your career, yes, so far?
I would say the kickoff, I would say, was the beginning of my PhD, and that I have to thank my PhD supervisors, because they play an important role in proposing or steering a bit my PhD idea and my PhD research plan, let's say, and propose this new topic and introduce me a bit to this world of ecohydraulics, to this community. Actually, it was during my PhD, I attended for the first time the International Symposium on Ecohydraulics in Trondheim, 2014. That was my first time there. And thanks to them, I was a bit introduced to this community. Then, from there, it starts. Of course, when things start rolling, then it's easier in the sense I started to have some connections, some collaborations, and then I was able to push further this type of research and initiatives by myself, of course, after my PhD. That there was an initial, I mean, I would say that the role of my mentors was important in that moment to give me a kickstart, and then surely ECoENet, so building up an active community or being part of an active community played also an important role. Maybe not directly countable in terms of scientific output, but this is just one metric. It's not the entire story of one career, you know. So throughout personal friendships and collaboration within ECoENet community and network, I think I was able to navigate constantly throughout the community of ecohydraulics and build up some good relation and hopefully also good reputation in the community. So if I have to summarize, it's a bit the first kickoff from my mentors, and then surely the ecohydraulic community and ECoENet network experience were key factors in my career so far, in my ecohydraulic career so far. Let's say.
Yeah. So is it true that basically with the conference in Trondheim in 2014, kind of like you were already there and then kind of like got on board, and then with Melbourne, then 2 years later in 2016, basically when ECoENet really picked up, you were there from the very start. And then so after that, or in the process, how would you describe your involvement? What were you doing? How were you supporting the community and ECoENet?
Yes. So as you mentioned, in 2014, actually, I was getting to know, let's say, the first people of ECoENet, and personally. So, and then we were keeping in touch in the second 2 years. Of course, I was then starting actively participating in the committee in 2016 in Melbourne, always under during the event of the International Symposium on Ecohydraulics. There, if I remember correctly, I think I was asked by Roser Casasmulet to be actively involved, and I say, why not? I mean, I was young and full of energy at the time. So, and then there we start with a group of more senior people, senior researcher, and young, fresh energy that I was at the time. We were sitting together and start thinking how this community, this network could serve, and how we could put in words this need for a young ecohydraulic community. And then we publish a paper, a kind of sort of position paper on this vision. Then that was the trigger to try to build up on this vision and really develop a long-term plan to fulfill this vision. Of course, it's important to be dreamer and shoot high. So I'm not sure we will never, or the ECoENet network, we will ever achieve all these targets, but we for sure we did a lot of a long way so far, and we built up a lot of nice experiences. And starting from Melbourne, we try to build up some interest and momentum and create a solid network of people interested in the topic of ecohydraulics. We dedicated a lot of effort to create sort of a live event together with conferences like the International Symposium on Ecohydraulics and the ISRS, International Society of River Science, something like that, ISRS conference, yes. And so we propose side events to these conferences, and then these were the peak of our, I would say, activity, also because there you can really talk with people and spend time with people and connect also on a personal level, because at the end of the day, behind all the social channels or whatever, it's you need also a personal connection among people. And then, I mean, then the story went on, and then there was lately COVID and disruption of live events that complicates, of course, all our efforts and our hopes, let's say, in the last period. But we can catch up again.
Yeah, I mean, from your I really like to hear these stories because, I mean, apart from all the outcomes and everything, I mean, for sure, and we are getting slowly aware of that. You put a lot of efforts on the ECoENet. That, as you just said before, is not all the efforts. All those efforts are not like directly measurable in terms of scientific outcome. But I mean, I would take this chance to ask you, I mean, to what extent, from your personal experience, but as well maybe more in general terms, is important for an early career researcher to be part of a network, specifically ECoENet, but also more in general to be part of a network. Yeah.
I see many advantages. I can also see that until you don't try, you might not see these advantages, because as in many things in life, it's, if you really don't know what it's about, it's difficult to say, okay, this is really a plus. But I would say we are all connected in this era, in this last generation, and young researcher even more. Potentially, we are all connected via internet, via social media, with via whatever type of platforms. But actually, we still need human contact and human interaction to support each other, to discuss, to share ideas. And this is, and the network can facilitate this. Doesn't mean that a network will bring you the contact and say, hey, please speak to this person or contact this person. The network allows you to facilitate this process if you are happy to take action. Because then a network can live only when people are active. And this is very, once you try, it's very effective and positive. So facilitating interaction, it's surely a very important element for early careers. Then, as a consequence of that, this opens many different aspects. For example, don't feel that you are alone with your problems or with your concerns or with your challenges in your PhD. This is, of course, it's a bigger topic of the difficulties of a PhD life. So it's not just a scientific issue, it's more also a career and, let's say, health issue. But it's always positive to feel part of a group or a family or a group of people where you can also share difficulties or hopes or ideas or whatever, look for some advices. And moreover, another positive aspect is that you can use the network to advertise also your success. So your little success or your something you are proud of, or your whatever, if it's a peer review publication or a soft publication or some pictures, it's something you can share with the community. But it's not just posting on internet, it's sharing with a community that in some way cares about what you're doing and you care about what the other are doing. So it's having a big family on a topic of your interest for your career, where you can, which you can send and share news and achievements. So these are the main things that pop into my mind.
Yeah, I can fully second that. I mean, for me, like, I joined the network during the COVID pandemic. So first it was all just digital contact in a sense, right? But then when we were in Granada last year, that was really nice to just be together. And I remember that evening I was just sitting up on the rooftop terrace, enjoying the view over the mountains, talking ecohydraulics and stuff like that. So I think these are kind of like these memorable experiences where, like you're saying, it's this getting connected beyond the digital world, getting into personal contact, and I think this is what ECoENet really can offer for the community, and what we as the board are trying to push. And in a sense, you as former board member and being there as a founding father, kind of like the network grew significantly. I mean, if you look now, we have on Twitter, we have 500 followers. On LinkedIn, we have a group with over 100 people, and engaging, and like you're saying, also inviting people to engage, to share their successes. And I think one further thing that I noted, kind of like what you said, is like with regards to engaging and diving into the community, it's like with regard to, okay, what are win-wins of doing that? And that is like, okay, you don't know the advantages before you don't try. And I think this is where we as community are open, and it's like, okay, if somebody wants to try to dive in, somebody has an idea of stepping in, doing some stuff, having even new ideas that we have not even thought about. So that's where we are open, and hope to continue this kind of legacy that you guys started back in 2014.
I fully agree. Yes.
Yeah, so thank you really much for your time. I think that was quite valuable, and we got a lot of insights, and it's always good to hear these stories from the past, and to see how things are developing. And we're always in a phase of transition, and we always try to improve things. And so we're really aiming to move on, to continue building on the things that you established, and maybe, like you're saying, this vision that you cast in this first collaborative paper that you wrote, maybe we can continue going there and moving some steps. Yeah.
I hope, and I hope that some early careers, early careers one day will become senior and can support this vision. You know, it's hopefully it's a circle of, it's a positive circle of life.
Yeah. So we hope you will continue to always be our senior advisor.
Yeah,
even if your hair is fully gray. And
you have my, I mean, you have my support, and I hope that I can stay in academia and be able to support further.